If you're a heat and air conditioning technician or even a salesperson, what do you need to know about buyers' questions and how they're used against you and why does it matter? This is a fantastic question. I'm Scott Bell, coming to you live for HVAC Technician Sales Secrets on a perfect day to talk about sales and business and a fantastic day to talk about you. All right, today we are going to go deep on questions. And you need to know that sometimes buyers were going to use these questions against you. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples from my personal life. Okay, questions can just be for somebody who is an ask hole. And all you're doing is asking questions. So you can ask them, are you asking to ask or do you really want to know? Right? There's tons of times where people are asking questions and they're free-flowing conversations in their brain. They're not really actually asking you anything. It's just they're highly verbal. There's people in your life that talk all the time. Like you're driving down the road and they're like, I'm driving down the road. And then they see a squirrel, they're like, oh, there's a squirrel. That type of person sometimes is asking a question and it's not real. So sometimes you really got to ask, are you asking to ask or do you really want to know? You also have people who are the ask hole that all they do is they ask questions. How and why and what. We call that go fetch a rock. I got that from Warren Clough. There's people who want all sorts of data and then they never do anything with it. So when people come to me and they're like, hey, I got all these questions. I go, great. If I can answer all these questions, what happens next? Right? Well, then maybe kind of sort of we'll do something. Like, no. Right? I'm not going to go through and answer all this stuff only for you to tell me maybe. If I can get these questions answered, are we doing something? I don't know. Like, okay, you're in tire kicker mode, and that's entirely possible. That's cool. That's good for you. I just want to call it out for what it is. And you have to be aware that questions can be used against you. Questions can be used like a gotcha moment where people are like, I gotcha. Like they went and read some obscure article online. I've had this happen to me. They read some obscure article online that some person said something 22 years ago and they're like, you don't know the answer to that question? So then they use it as a browbeating device. Oh, you don't know the answer to the question? You said that you were an expert, Scott. Yeah, but you're all asking a question. You're not asking the right question. You're asking the wrong one. You have to be able to take that frame control and go, by you asking that question, you're showing me that you don't really know the answer. By you asking me that question, you're showing me you're an amateur. This right here is why you should join the email publication. I'll give you the goods, not in the Facebook group, not in the YouTube channel. So go to that URL, type it into a browser, just type it into a browser, and here's what happens. You sign up, I'll send you emails. That's it. It's an email publication. You get an invite to the Facebook group, a couple of other cool things. It's an email publication. Now, I'm going to tell you a story. Not too far from me, this direction, you can't see, but that's west. Go west. There is a town that's in the foothills. And there's lots of deer and there's lots of turkeys. It's a gated community here in Sacramento. It's in the country, okay? So I am sitting at the table. Got the table right in front of me, right? Got the table in front of me. I've got my proposal slid right in front of the dude. And I asked him a question. Okay, what day do you want the install to go in? And the guy looks at me. And then out of the corner of his eye, he sees a buck, right? He sees a buck. Oh, do you see that buck? He's using the question to change the conversation. You have to be aware of this. You have to be aware that this question is meant to pull you off of your game, okay? And I went, And I sat there with my head tilted forward, something you learn in sign language. Like I'm asking you a question, and I have the pen like this, right? Like this. Got the pen, ready to hand it to him. And then he gets uncomfortable. He's like, oh, look, there's a bunch of doe. Oh, and there's another buck. This whole process was meant to pull me off my sales train, okay? The whole process was like, hey, cool. So here goes his next play. Can you just email me the proposal? Right? After he's made all sorts of commitments. Now, here's another question. Can you just email me the proposal? Right? Hey, I wish I could. We're both sitting here right now. Out of all the features and benefits and everything that's in here, what's the one thing you don't like? Well, like, look, there's deer and turkey. Like, be aware that questions can be used to your advantage. And they can also be used to pull you off of your sales process. You got to have the ability to circle back. You got to have the ability to have the conversation. So my question for you is, what would you do? Right? I'm going to ask you a question. What would you do in that given circumstance? You're sitting at the table, right? You got your table right here. You got the agreement, the tablet, whatever way you're having somebody sign, and like you're asking for the business and they change the topic. They're asking a question to get you off topic. What do? You got one of three things to do from here. Just one of three. Find the subscribe button, click on it, and every time I send out a video, you'll get an update. 2, hit follow. 3, share this video with a friend. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.